Have you ever felt as if you were in a kind of a limbo, neither a man nor a woman?
Trans is a prefixual term for a range of non-binary and non-conforming gender identities, but it can also be affixed to man and woman, i.e. trans man, to signify the experience, past or present, of a transitional state of sexed being. The representation of transgender communities has always been very limited in cinema. Gender variance in cinema dates back to even before talkies were around, with Eliza Steinlock pointing out how transformation and cross-dressing on screen emerged when sexological accounts were first debating the terminology and diagnostic criteria for transvestism and transsexualism. But despite this, there has been little representation for the transgender gaze, where members within the community have been able to express themselves freely without a heteronormative view taking over. Documentaries focusing on the representation of transgender communities provide this voice, and in doing so present the audience with an idea of what it is to be transgender and the issues faced by this community. Beginning with Paris is Burning, we're immediately presented with a flamboyant and exaggerated representation of gender performance through the ball scene, where these black LGBTQ+ social outcasts can come together and express themselves freely and be rejoiced. Within this environment is where we meet a number of members who identify as trans, namely Octavia St. Laurent and Venus Extravaganza. These trans women have a clear idea of what type of woman they want to be, with most of them finding great importance in their beauty, fame, and wealth. From this we can understand that the idealized woman within this community seems to be one who fits a domesticated role of relying on her beauty as well as having a man to pay for the things she wants. Along with this, the role of prostitution is also brought to light, and how this allows some members within this community to live this type of lifestyle. Realness is also something mentioned frequently and appears to be extremely important to these trans women to be able to pass as naturally born women, which can be understandable as to why they lean towards a more feminine ideal. It is from this that we can also understand the ultimate desire for a sex change, as this means that they no longer have anything to hide from society, and they can truly see themselves and be viewed by others as a woman. From the perspective of Judith Butler, Paris is Burning produced one of the first theorizations of transgender experience as gender nonconformity, rather than as a kind of sexual deviance. Moving on from Paris is Burning, we have the 2002 biographical documentary of Georgina Bayer. Whilst Georgina did start her trans life similarly to the people in Paris is Burning, with performance being a huge part of her identity, she then took a drastic turn when she moved into politics, and as of 1995 became the world's first transgender member of parliament when she was elected to represent the Wairarapa region of New Zealand. Differing from Paris is Burning and other trans documentary narratives, Georgie Girl is a success story, with the creator of the film deliberately constructing a celebratory rather than an exploitative narrative, normalizing rather than othering gender diversity. Earlier in the documentary, Georgina discusses her desires to fit the identity of a luxurious woman, her desire for fame, and even her role in prostitution, all topics mentioned in Paris is Burning. However, where Georgie Girl differs is how it is set not whilst Georgina is living this lifestyle, but long after, when her life is now centered around her role as a professional government official. Suzanne Woodward emphasizes how this narrative fluidity reinforces the idea that the present and the future are inextricably connected to the past. Knowing where you come from is central to understanding who you are and where you are going. The freedom these trans women are afforded in these documentaries is largely attributed to the role that the documentary style plays itself. Woodward states that technological developments have made the medium of documentary film available to marginalized groups previously rendered voiceless by the political economy of mainstream media. It is through this access where members of the trans community can present themselves to an audience as they wish to be perceived. For those in Paris is Burning, this was a feminine, beauty-focused idea of what a woman is, whereas Georgie Girl reflected Georgina's growth into a professional government official determined to focus on her work and not let her identity interfere with this. Documentaries are one of the best forms of communication, in that they allow the central characters to share their experiences, perspectives, and beliefs with the audience in their own words. Georgina Bayer and the trans woman from Paris is Burning all reflect a different type of trans person. Where many films have typically restricted the voice of people within the trans community, documentaries can afford these communities an ability to present themselves however they wish to be seen.